It's John Dickinson, 808 KNBR, the number, 415-808-5627 to give us a call or shoot us a text here on a Monday night where the Giants are victorious. They get the job done 5-2 the final. They take care of the Mets. Keaton Winn, outstanding. 6+, 4 hits, just the one earned run allowed, matching a career high with the 6 innings pitched. Got into the 7th, and the 5th time reaching the threshold in 10 career starts. So Keaton Winn looking real good in this one and putting up zeros. And I thought the way he responded to the lone run that he gave up was as impressive as the strikeouts and the 3-up, 3-down innings and everything that was going on for Keaton Winn. You know, you look at the top of the first, Marte bunts for a hit and then tries to take second on the bad throw, thrown out, and then Winn just kind of settles in from there. And it was really that kind of night. Hitting heroes for the Giants in this one as the Giants got on the board in the bottom of the second, loading the bases with 1 out for Tom Murphy and Nick Ahmed. Murphy strikes out, and you're thinking, all right, what's Ahmed going to do? And he's proven himself to be somebody that's come through for the Giants in these situations, and he blasts one down the left field line, just foul. You're thinking, might be 4-0, big fly, grand slam right there, but it goes just foul. Then he singles in 2 up the middle. Giants add on a couple of more in the 3rd, and that really allowed Keaton Winn to relax. Matt Chapman, a 2-run double, and 4-0 at that point. A couple of more strikeouts for Keaton Winn in the shutdown inning in the 4th, and Alonso takes him deep to lead off the 5th. But again, he settled in to retire the next 3 hitters in that inning and keep it right there with nothing really doing for the Mets. 4-1 at that point, and then the Giants add on again in the 6th with Conforto going deep and making it a 5-1 game. And then, Keaton Winn going back out for the start of the 7th, gives up a single, then a walk. That's it. And Ryan Walker in to face Alonso, got him to pop out. Wild pitch mixed in there, but then a ground out as well. And Walker gets out of the inning and keeps the Mets trailing and the Giants up 5-1 at that point. And then on the 9th, things got a little weird. Got the first Camilo Doval light show. First, it wasn't a save opportunity with the Giants up 4, but it was the first opportunity for Doval and the Giants to show off the new entrance and the light show. And all of that. And, first night game with Doval out there to try and finish off the deal, even in a non-save situation. And, it got the crowd jacked. I know people, it's kind of been split as far as some people love the light show, some people hate it. I don't think we've really gotten an opportunity to see too much of the light show either way at this point, because the Giants haven't hit a lot of homers, which is when you get a little bit of a taste of the light show. And Doval with his first opportunity. That's the real one, with the everything going dark and then the lights as Doval enters the game. I think Marcus Boucher, he said Murph and Marcus, Club Doval. It did have Club Doval type vibes tonight. And then Doval comes in, a walk, then able to get a ground out. He drops the throw, which was right to him there, which could have led to a real simple inning. But then a wild pitch and a run. Chapman nearly threw it away on the ground out after that. But Wilmer Flores able to scoop it up, and then a walk to bring the tying run to the plate, because the tying run had to come to the plate. Nothing easy, but Doval able to get DJ Stewart for the final out, and the Giants end up with the win, 5-2 to improve to 11-13, and they take the opener of this 3-game set against the Mets. And it's playing better ball after the 5-9, 6-10 starts, leaving St. Petersburg on that last road trip. The Giants were in a little bit of trouble. They take 2 of 3 against Miami. They come back. They split 4 against Arizona. And, now they get the win in this one. And ultimately can get to 11-13 overall. So it's a little bit better at this point over the course of the last 8 games for the Giants. And the question I really wanted to put out there tonight to start the conversation is, do you feel like the Giants are getting better, or do you feel like they're just not getting worse at this point? And either are beneficial, to be perfectly honest, because the Giants, when you look up in the standings right now in the National League West, they're only 2 games back, close of business. Dodgers have not been what everybody expected the Dodgers to be, but tonight's a real nice win back into your rotation, starting a series against a Mets team that started 0-5, and then they'd reeled off 12 out of 16 since and went in and won their series in L.A. against the Dodgers by taking 2 out of 3. Like, the Mets are playing good ball. This isn't the Mets that had the 0-5 start and, Mets team that suddenly found themselves, potentially in the mix as far as the National League East. And obviously that's a tough division with Atlanta and Philadelphia both right there at the top, and they're playing great ball. But the National League West has not been what everybody, I guess, on the one hand expected it to be as far as the Dodgers go. But then you look at the Padres 13-12 and the Diamondbacks 11-13, same record as the Giants. We just saw those 2 teams split 4 games. And so I think no matter how you answer the question, are the Giants getting better or are they just not getting worse? I think even if you take that they're just not getting worse side of it, that's still allowing for a team that I do think projects to be better than they've played to this point. If they can get Blake Snell going, he'll get another opportunity on Wednesday to try and get back on track and really get on track for the first time with the Giants. And so, now you turn it over. You get the rotation turned over here, and you get now 24 games into this thing. You go back through it one more time with Logan Webb starting it out, and Snell's in there, and Hicks has been pretty good, and Keaton Winn now 2 starts in a row for him that are fantastic. I mean, that are the kind of starts that prove that a young pitcher belongs in a rotation. And so I think you have to like what you've seen from Keaton Winn over these last 2. And look, Alex Cobb, his timeline has changed. I think the Giants were hopeful, obviously, that he had the potential to be back. A month ago, it looked like he was going to be back by now. And he's had a couple of little setbacks and issues there. And that's continued to give Keaton Winn the opportunity to show what he can do at the back end of a Giants rotation that should be formidable when it's all said and done. And I think he's shown himself to be a real nice depth piece at the back end of that rotation, and somebody that's versatile and steady and can go out there and keep a team in a ball game for 6-7 innings at a time. So 808 KNBR is the number. It is John Dickinson here. It is Sports Phone KNBR post-Giants edition. Giants beat the Mets 5-2. Question of the night, so to speak. Are the Giants getting better, or does it feel like they're just not getting worse at this point? Either way, I think you'll take it, given where things stood a little over a week ago. All right, let's get to the phones. Let's get it rolling with Dennis in San Jose. First up here tonight on the Sports Leader. Hey, Dennis.
Yeah, John, I got to tell you, you're right. I'll tell you right now, they're getting better. And this is just a start, because eventually they're going to get more better in pitching, which is already doing good. We got to get Snell going. If he can get going, that'd be real good. Our hitting's getting a little better, like you saw tonight. And they got that timely hitting, and they get that hitting going, and they get about a team batting average before the middle of the season, about 265, and then their pitching's down to about 200 because they got guys that can pitch like crazy, like Webb tomorrow. He should win tomorrow. He's that good of a pitcher, but we got to get runs from him. And I'm telling you that this team reminds me of 2010. When 2010, these guys were doing real bad. They'd win some games, but then after that, they snapped out of it. They were like 5, 7, 8 runs down and came back and won the game. That's what they did then. And this team could do the same thing, I think, with the hitters they got. Man, they got guys that can hit that ball. They just got to keep going.
Yeah, Dennis, I would be reluctant and a little wary of throwing out 2010 at this point with this team. But the one thing they can do, I think that this team projects to be able to do, is be able to pitch. This team should be able to pitch. And
you're right.
And when you pitch, you're going to be in it. And, they are hitting the ball hard. That's been something that they have done throughout the first few weeks here, even though it hasn't always translated into big hits with runners in scoring position. The power has been there more so on the road, obviously, than it has been at home. I think that's been something that's been frustrating. But this team can pitch, and I think anytime you've got a team that can pitch, you're going to hang in games. You're going to have opportunities to win close games, and I think the Giants believe that they're going to be the kind of team that will win those close games, and they will start to have some of the hard hit rate and those things that show that maybe they should be a better hitting team than they've been to this point in terms of results start to come to fruition. So good stuff there. We appreciate it. Dennis in San Jose getting us rolling here on Sports Phone KNBR post-Giants edition. Giants win tonight. It is John Dickinson here in the bunker at Oracle Park. Let's continue to roll with Ray in Lodi next on the Sports Leader. Hey, Ray.
Hey, Kerry, how's it going?
Yeah, it's JD tonight. What's going on, Ray?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, so I'm calling about the Giants, and I know a lot of people get excited to beat the Mets, but man, against the Diamondbacks, I mean, first of all, Nick Ahmed, he's supposed to have a glove, but I haven't seen it, and the guy's got a wet noodle for an arm. I mean, I don't know how many guys beat out his throws. And then, Chapman, I don't know if he left his bat, wherever he came from, Seattle. And
Toronto, and Chapman had a 2-run double tonight to score a couple.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead.
And so the starting pitching, I don't have a problem with that, but the bullpen, I mean, they just got destroyed. And I mean, Doval, they have to get to Doval, but they can't get there, and it seems like that's what's happening against the better teams. Because I mean, I'm watching the game and I see, Soler hit a home run. I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And here they come. And they're running all over the place. And it just seems like, that they just were just hitting. The Diamondbacks were just hitting like everywhere they weren't.
Well, the Diamondbacks had the one ugly one, the 17-1 on Friday. The Giants did win Thursday. They did win Saturday. They did put themselves in a position. I agree with you in terms of the middle relief. Not necessarily the setup relief, but the times where the Giants have had to get into the bullpen in the 5th, 6th innings before it's Rogers and Rogers, or before it's Rogers and Rogers to get to Doval. Walker, I think, has been there's been games where he's helped them. There's been other games where he hasn't quite had it. They got Luke Jackson back in the mix, which I think they're counting on him. Remember, he got hurt on opening day in an inning where he didn't have it and then was out, reinstated from the injured list earlier today. So I think they're counting on him. But I think they're counting on having a little more power more consistently than they've had to this point. And I think they're counting on some of the hard contact to turn into a few more hits with runners in scoring position than we've seen to this point. And then the bullpen, I'm with you on that part. That part, I think, is going to be a work in progress. Not the 7th, 8th, and 9th necessarily, but when you have to get the 5th and the 6th, or when you have to have a couple of guys down because they've worked, multiple days in a row, and some of those guys that usually pitch the 5th and the 6th are now having to go on the 7th and the 8th.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, if they have any chance, they're going to be a wild card. They're not going to win the division. I mean, no one's going to beat the Dodgers out.
You'd think not. You'd think not. But then you look at the standings right now, and I know it's early, but the Dodgers are 13-11. And look, I would have thought the Dodgers would have been much better than 13-11 at this point. I think everybody would, but they're 3-7 in their last 10. This Mets team that the Giants just beat tonight, they went into Dodger Stadium and took 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Dodgers. And the Dodgers haven't been the Dodgers. And, you look at the East, and the Braves are hot. The Phillies are hot. The Brewers are off to a really good start. The Cubs are in that mix. And so I'm with you on the Dodgers. I'm not willing to say the Giants at this point are divisional contenders, although the standings say 2 games out, even at 11-13, you're divisional contenders, at least until you're not. And so I think that's the way the Giants would want to have this thing play out. I do think, though, so let me ask you a question of the night here. Sports Phone KNBR. Are the Giants getting better, or are they just not getting worse?
I mean, honestly, you bring up a good point with the records. I mean, they're hanging in there, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd love to see them go as far as, win it all. But yeah, I mean, I want that to happen. I mean, they have the potential. I think they're getting better. It's just that they've got so many new players, and it's like, I'm not sure sometimes they get up there and what their strategy is as far as hitting is concerned. So I've seen a lot of guys just standing there watching strike three go by.
That's happened a lot. That's happened too much. I will say that. That has happened, Ray, a little bit too much to this point of the season. But here's the thing. If you're 11, and thanks, Ray, for the call. Appreciate it. Ray's line open, 808-KNBR, 415-808-5627. It is Sports Phone KNBR here on KNBR, the sports leader. Giants get the win over the Mets 5-2 here tonight at Oracle Park as we come to you from the bunker. Look, you're not going to go 11-13 just to be 74-88, which is what 11-13 projects out to. If that's going to be what you are, then forget it. It doesn't matter that you're 2 games back at this point. And yes, I think it's premature to be thinking of this as they're going to contend with the Dodgers, but I think they're 11-13 not to be 74-88 because this is what they are. I think they're 11-13 and project to be better as the season goes on. I think they project to hit more. I think they project to hit for more power. I think they're going to hit with runners in scoring position a little bit better. And the one thing that does have to become a part of this thing is Blake Snell. Blake Snell has to become a part of this thing if the Giants are going to be able to be the best version of themselves, and he hasn't to this point. And unfortunately, Keaton Winn has helped basically hold that up because he's pitched very well, and Jordan Hicks has pitched very well. But the Giants are 0-3 in Snell's starts. He's 0-3 himself. He hasn't pitched well in any of the 3 to this point. And you start looking at some of the trends here as everybody's basically gone through the rotation 5 times now, and Snell over the last 3 turns. And they're 3-2 in Webb starts. They're 3-2 in Harrison starts. They're 3-2 in Jordan Hicks' starts. And now Keaton Winn is kind of joining the party 2-3, but it's Snell. It's the offer for Snell and for Dalton Jeffries, who had to pitch the game in San Diego on Easter Sunday because Blake Snell wasn't ready to go because he signed so late. So you could almost put Dalton Jeffries in the Snell spot at this point. And you factor that out, they actually, and those records will show you that the starting pitching has been good enough for them to win a lot of these games. So 808 KNBR, let's keep it moving on the phone line. Simple question tonight as the Giants get the win 5-2 over the Mets. Are the Giants getting better, or are they just not getting worse? Let's keep it moving. And that's Joseph, who was at the ball game tonight here on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Joseph?
Hey, what's going on, man? I think right now you're seeing a beautiful combination of both, to be honest. I think that you're seeing them start to get into flourish more with the hitting. You're seeing the bullpen and everything like that starting to move further on, like tonight, right? You're seeing the pitching going more into flourish. I think in the long run, you're going to see the bullpen starting to develop a little bit more. I like the way the boys are swinging the bats right now, especially tonight. We're coming back from the ballpark right now. I think you're going to see a lot more positives going forward. We're going to see tomorrow with Webb coming back on. We're going to be able to lock things down and try to move forward in a positive direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you love. You love getting the win with your 5th starter, and now you turn it over, and you got your 1 and your 1A, supposedly, although Snell's got to start pitching like it. But you've got your 1 in Webb and your 1A in and Snell going these next two. And so you got an opportunity to win the series with your ace, and then the guy who won the Cy Young is going after that before you keep things moving. And so, yeah, I mean, Keaton Winn has really allowed for the Giants to be able to try and build a little bit of a momentum off of, some dire circumstances going back to the back end of that series against Tampa. And basically when, Snell got touched around a little bit back in his former ballpark there on that Sunday, going back, about 8 days ago, I guess a week ago from yesterday. But Harrison's been good, and Hicks has kept him in games, and Logan Webb's been Logan Webb. And so, yeah, I think you look at this thing overall, and it's got some potential as the bats, start to come around. Chapman getting a big hit to extend the lead tonight. Nick Ahmed is somebody that's come up with some big hits for the Giants in the early part of the season. Drives in a couple. He's been somebody that isn't averse from getting a clutch hit and coming through in a big moment. So the Giants are going to need it. They're going to continue to need it from and have to get it from everybody up and down the lineup. But no, I do think there are some reasons for some optimism. My take on it is they are getting better, as opposed to, well, they're just not getting worse. Either way, you got to stop the bleeding before you can, continue to push forward. But I think you have to like what you've seen from this team over the last week, with opportunities maybe for it to be better. And again, nobody's running away in terms of the division, at least not yet, because of a very poor, I think by the standard that they set and what everybody expected them to be, a very poor start to the season for the Dodgers. It's kind of crazy to think that. At 13-11, but 13-11 is 88 win pace. I mean, people are talking about the Dodgers going to be on 108 win pace, or more, potentially threatening the all-time record. And maybe it gets to that point later on down the line. They for sure are probably going to have a major hot streak, just based on the talent level that they have up and down that roster. But it hadn't happened yet. And it's allowed everybody to hang in, and the Giants, I think, are in a position where, as bleak as things looked a little bit over a week ago, they look a lot brighter now. And again, I think the pitching staff is the big part of it here, that gives you hope. Because if you can pitch, you're going to hang in games, and you're not going to quite need as many of those clutch hits, as often. If you can pitch. Tim in Visalia is next here on the Sports Leader. What's going on tonight, Tim?
How's it going, John?
I'm doing well. Just getting stretched out a little bit here in the bunker. Good to be at the ballpark again and talk some Giants baseball.
Yeah, that was a nice win tonight. So I just want to say, okay, it's a long season. We're 10-13 or 11.
11 now, yeah. Hey.
Yeah. What I got to say is the fans just need to take a chill pill. It's, yes, Snell is not doing very well in the beginning, but then again, he didn't play in spring training. So you're throwing him into the mix when he didn't have a chance to pitch in spring training. So he's kind of rusty a little bit. You got to give the guy a chance. Now, the other guys, Cobb, he got put on the injured list today, correct?
Yeah, he got extended to the 60. It looked like he was going to be on the 60 at the beginning of the year, and then he was really ramping toward an early return. Like originally, I think he was due back toward the end of May originally.
Yeah.
And then things were going so well that it was, reports were like maybe he was going to be back by the 10th or the 15th of April. Now, that since was paused, and he had a couple of setbacks to the point where, they're really dialing it back to make sure that he's right. So Keaton Winn's going to be here to stay as far as that last rotation spot. He's going to get a good opportunity here to keep it rolling after a couple of really good starts.
Yeah, he had a good start in Florida. I was surprised.
He did. He hasn't really had a bad one. I mean, even the worst of them have been, not catastrophic blow-ups to this point.
Yeah. I'm talking about Snell. I go back and think DeSclafani. He had a tough start in 21, and he came around. He came around and dominated. The Dodgers dominated him in the first few series, and then he took off. He was in the playoffs, and he did really good. As the season went on, I think Snell can do the same thing. The team will gel together as the season goes on. We hover, right around 500 above. Come All-Star break, right around June, July, we make a run. Anything can happen. Get into the wild card,
Yeah, no doubt. And getting into the wild card is going to be just by design now, Tim. The way that you got 3 wild cards and 6 teams are going to make it in each league, and that's designed to keep teams in it longer, and that's designed to keep teams that hang around 500 in it longer, because you're always going to be with that many wild cards. If you're 500, you're going to be like 4 back. You're going to be like 4 or 5 back, maybe. It might be less than that, but you're going to be almost no worse. The 6th best team is almost – there's no chance at that point with everybody playing everybody that they are going to be more than maybe 8 or 9 over 500. And so you're about 4.5 back probably at worst, which means you can get on a little bit of a run. And as the caller – I didn't want to invoke 2010 as the caller earlier did, but that 2010 team was 41-40. 81 games into that season. Again, we'll slow our roll on talking about teams that maybe can, win a World Series. But this team I do think has the ability to continue to build. And Tim, I'm with you on the gelling part of it, because I think that's an underrated component as far as, this team was just kind of cobbled together late. And I think there were times watching them the first couple of weeks where it just didn't seem, and it doesn't always have to for a baseball team. You see it in football or basketball, a team that just doesn't look like the pieces all fit together. And the Giants kind of look like a team that the pieces just didn't all fit together. They were trying to figure out who to hit, who where, and it just didn't totally fit. And I think over time there's enough talent to where it will start to look like it fits together.
Can I say?
Yeah, one more thing, Tim. Go for it.
I'll take it off the air. This team reminds me a lot of the '97 team. Yeah, it's early, but we did good that year. I think we started 15-4 that year, and nobody expected that. And this team really reminds me, not record-wise, but just the way they're set up. Like that team was. Nobody expected it to be in that.
Tim, I like that comp. I like that comp better. I like that comp better than 2010. I'll say that. And that team, obviously, both those teams ended up winning divisions. And the Giants, second to last day of the year, they won the division. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate the call. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627. It is John Dickinson here in the bunker at Oracle Park. Giants 5, Mets 2. Giants up to 11-13 on the season. Game 2 of the 3-game set tomorrow. Right back here with Logan Webb on the mound for San Francisco, going up against Luis Severino, the former Yankee, and then Sean Manaea, the former Giant and former Oakland Athletic. He will be on the hill against Blake Snell on Wednesday afternoon. So let's keep things rolling on the phone lines. 808 KNBR is what Rick and Hayward checks in here on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Rick?
Hey, John. Good to talk with you. Hey, I want to talk about Jorge Soler.
Okay.
We're not talking about a small sample size anymore with 85 or 88 or 83 at-bats anymore. We're talking pretty much there. He's got 6 RBIs and 83 at-bats. We got him to be a run producer, not get on base and score runs, but produce runs. He doesn't look like he has that. I mean, yeah, he hit the home run the other day, no doubt about it. He's got power, but I mean, the guys are letting pitches go right down the plate that look like strikes, and I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's been tough. At times, it looks like he's looking fastball and he's slow on it. At times, he's looking breaking ball maybe, and he's out in front on it a little bit too much. He's just been kind of caught in between. It seemed like, and then he's taking pitches. Right, he's maybe looking for one pitch, he gets another, and it ends up being a strike. And obviously, the Giants have taken too many called thirds. I think this year as a collective,
way too many
as a group. And so, look, some guys are slow starters. I don't know Solaire's career trajectory as far as that goes, but he's somebody the Giants paid a lot of money to. He's somebody that has a proven track record of hitting for power in the major leagues, in both leagues. And so, I still think it's a little early. I think April 22nd is a little early. I want to see, for him, he's probably going to get the first 2 months, to be honest. I mean, veteran with his track record usually gets to about Memorial Day, I would say. But I want to see at least a couple of more weeks. And let's see if it levels out. Let's see if he has a little hot spurt. Let's see if the numbers start to pick up a little bit. If not, then we'll see. But again, a guy that you pay that much money to bring over to basically be the dude that's going to hit at least 30, if not more, he's going to get some time to round into form, unless there's a better option. And I don't know that the Giants are necessarily at the point where they're looking for better options, but I think it's a little early, I guess, Rick, for me. Again, I get it. April stats tend to look worse because that's all you got, and it hasn't looked great for the reasons that I've mentioned. But I think when Bob Melvin speaks to the number of different hitters that have track records that he believes in where it'll get closer to form and what the back of the baseball card would say, or what the baseball reference line would say, I think he's definitely one of those guys.
Well, I'm not going full bore panic mode here or anything like that. I'm just looking at, okay, you got Chapman. Right now he's projected at 600 bats. He's projected to hit 25 home runs, 90 RBIs.
Yep.
Right now you got Conforto, who's really doing good. And if you project him out of what he's doing right now, he's going to get 113 RBIs and 35 home runs. I'm just looking at the team, and you asked the question, do I think they're getting better, or do I think they're just not looking as bad? Well, if you look at the last 4 games before tonight, you kind of, especially Friday night, I'm not going to even go there because Friday night was just a one-off, but I honestly don't think they're looking any better than they've been. I don't think they're looking any worse. I think they're about where they're at right now. It's especially the pitching. I mean, everybody's all excited about the pitch. We're 14th in the NL in team ERA. I mean, take away Friday, we're still 13th in team ERA. We're at 4.88 runs per 9 innings right now. Take away Friday, we're at 3.67.
No doubt.
After tonight, we're at 4.76. I know I'm throwing a lot of stats out there, but stats are what it's at. You got to have consistency. Jordan Hicks did not look great the other day. No. Yeah, he gave up 1 hit.
He was all over the place. That was not a great outing for him. No, he was all over the place.
That's 2 now. That's 2. That's not just 1. That's 2. I mean, and Keaton had a great game tonight, no doubt about it.
No, Hicks was good the first 3, and the last 2 have been shakier. No question about it. No question.
And now that we don't have Cobb for the foreseeable future, he was supposed to come back sometime around May. Now it looks like June. I'm just kind of worried about. Yeah, we might be able to tread water. Thank God our division isn't doing that great, but tread water. But, games count as much right now as they're going to count in August and September. And
well, they're counting on being better. The one thing I'll say to this, the 11-13 ain't going to do it. And a little bit better than 11-13 isn't going to do it either. So at some point, you're going to have to get on a run. I think this team will pitch. The interesting part about that is, and I know you threw out a couple of games, and this is not a good sign necessarily, but three of those are the Snell games, which weren't great. And the other one was the Dalton Jeffries game on Easter Sunday, where he shouldn't have even been pitching, but they didn't have anybody. And they've also had some middle relief, middle inning games that have gotten away from them a little bit. I'm confident this team's going to be able to pitch, though. I think those numbers, I think the pitching numbers that you reference, Rick, and thanks for the call. I think the pitching numbers are going to come down to where this is going to end up being a top. This is going to end up being, I think, a top 5 pitching staff when it's all said and done in terms of the starters. Now you factor in the relievers, and like I said, I like the 7, 8, 9 inning. I think there is a little work to be done in the middle as far as having things stack up. But I think this team's going to pitch, and I think the starting pitching is going to be pretty good. Mike is next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, what's going on tonight, Mike?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
You still sitting on the first side of the backstop there? First base side?
Yes, sir. Same spot. Come say hi. Come peek in the window.
I wave at you when I go by, but tonight I was out in the outfield.
Okay. And
it was a wonderful game.
I should have come and waved to you. I should have gone out there and waved to you before.
You need a club pass tonight to get up to where I was.
I can get there.
I know you probably could get there. But so the thing tonight was a great game. The last game I went to was a Snell game, and that was like brutally bad. But the thing about tonight is that all the other games, my little experience with the new lights and sound system was specifically on Friday night, that every time they played the music, whether trying to be loud or not, and flash the lights a little bit, it cleared the birds out. So I thought, well, that's why they're doing this. But tonight, when they did that whole thing, when Doval came in with Hollywood, go dark, 8 spotlights, walking him in on the infield, I got to question whether that is a good vibe or not.
Okay.
You got a closer coming in. Does anybody talk to Camilo to say, hey, you good with this? Because it's so much like L.A. Hollywood. It is forcing a vibe in something that I'm not a big fan of it, to be frank, right? It's like, don't make the game bigger than the game. When a guy comes in, a closer's, I don't even know if it was a save tonight when it started.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did it a save?
It was not a save, but it was the first night game. So here it was. Here it is, Mike. It was the first night game where Doval came in the 9th, and they were ahead, obviously.
Right.
So it was like, we're going to do it no matter what. We're doing it because we haven't been able to do it because there'd been a bunch of day games, and they haven't had a lot of leads or save situations for Doval at home.
Yeah, so for me, that feels very much like something that would happen in Chavez. I'm not going to lie, right? I mean, Hollywood, we don't need to come up with more excitement that isn't the game. The Giants need to be exciting the fans by playing the game well, right? And that's what we all want to see. We want to see the game, an exciting game, where if you have to come up with extracurricular activity to build excitement, you know what we're going to have? We're going to have the wave. We're going to have beach balls. We're going to have all that stuff because people are there, getting excited about the lights going orange instead of white. I mean, it's kind of cool. Yeah, they're not art halogens. They're lights for that. And it'll be cool for in between innings and stuff like that. But that was a little weird. I mean, it was like he had 8 spotlights on him. And who knows what that other thing that puts on the other team that says, oh, what's this all about, right?
Well, we've got our guy Austin Scott. We've got our guy Austin Scott on the KNBR digital team who's in the clubhouse. And I did ask him to ask Camilo if he could get a chance to whether he was. I think he was. In fact, I want to say there was an article written about it that he was kind of consulted on it, or they asked him if he'd have a problem with it. I don't want to speak to that without totally knowing, but I want to say I did see it. I know I've been kind of in Warriors mode here up until they went out. So all the nuances of the backstories I'm still catching up with a little bit. But I'll be honest with you, I thought it was kind of cool. I actually, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I was like, wow, and I thought the crowd seemed to like it. I know that's going to be a polarizing thing, and maybe we talk about it all day tomorrow, and you get, half the people call in and say they like it, and half the people call in and say they hated it. But I don't know. I'm not somebody that really had an opinion either way. I know the Dodgers have been doing similar. I know the Braves have done that for a number of years. I think the Braves were one of the first teams to do it with the closer specifically. So, other teams have done it. I think the Giants are trying to keep up from an entertainment value standpoint. But I don't know. I thought the crowd dug it more than they didn't. But I think your point echoes that of many as well. I do think it's a split.
I think the crowd dug it a lot because here it was, a night game, ninth inning, and we were in the lead. We were going to see a happy ending. And so everybody was into whatever was going to happen at that point. But then after he threw, I don't know, one or two to the backstop, and then all of a sudden the tying runs at the plate, then probably people forgot about that spotlight thing, right?
No, they definitely forgot. So was there anything added? I'll say this. Was there anything added, or I'll ask you this. Was there anything added to tonight's experience with Doval coming in compared to, say, like jump around when Brian Wilson would come in, or El Machon when Sergio Romo would come in, or anything like that? Was there anything added to the excitement?
Well, I mean, hard to say, right? Because it wasn't his music. It was the darkness and the 8 spotlights, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. That's what was different, right?
Yeah.
Like it used, because you mentioned it. What stuck with me was when you said, "Hey, everybody was excited because they were going to get a win," right? You had the lead and the closer was coming in, and it made me think, oh, well, you know what? Was it just that? Like it would have been in another era without the light show. It's like, Yankee Stadium when Enter Sandman would come on for Rivera,
right,
or Hell's Bells for Hoffman down in San Diego over the years. Like there's been a bunch of those through time, and sometimes just knowing you're going to hear the song will get you going a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I like it, but once again, my concern is, he's barely. This El Tranquilo. It's like that guy's on the verge of a head case. He loses track of time, right? If he gets caught up in a bright lights of walking in and there's 6 spotlights, does that say hustle? No, it says embrace the spotlight.
That's
he's
true.
on a clock, right? I don't want to mess his head up. He's a pitcher,
No, I think he liked it, and obviously Edwin Diaz with the trumpets and all that with the Mets. That's another good one, a more recent example as well. Hey, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it, and make sure you wave next time, Mike, if you're down right by the first baseline. We appreciate it. 808 KNBR, the number 415-808-5627. It is John Dickinson in the bunker here tonight at Oracle Park. Giants win over the Mets. 5-2 is the final, and we're asking a simple question tonight post-game. Are the Giants getting better in your mind, or is it just that they're not getting worse? And either way, it's a positive, because things were starting to look like they were getting away from the Giants as they left St. Petersburg and headed for Miami a week ago yesterday. So they've stabilized a bit, but now can they get on a run? We'll continue the conversation. It's all coming up next. More calls. We'll hear some sound from the Giants clubhouse. We also may switch gears between now and midnight, talk a little bit about the 49ers and their draft prospects. But let's keep the Giants conversation going. 808 KNBR. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
phone. KNBR keeps rolling. Live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpot Studios. Casino Matrix. Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
He sets, throws, ground ball to second. To his right, Estrada's got it. Here's the throw to first, and the Giants have won it. The Giants take game one from the Mets. Final score, Giants 5 and the Mets 2.
Ah, yes, John Miller right here. KNBR, the sports leader. And El Machon. Is it the song or is it the light show? Or is it both? What was it tonight? Camilo Doval in for the first time to finish off a game with the new lights. And I'll admit, I thought it was cool. Mike disagreed. The Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line, 408. I agree with Mike. So we got 2 votes against. Big night tonight for Keaton Wynn. Keaton Wynn, tremendous. Again, second straight, real good start for Keaton Wynn. I was looking at Keaton Wynn's overall numbers and made the point earlier that, he hasn't had a blow-up bad start at all. I mean, he gives up 3 earned runs in 5 innings at Dodger Stadium a couple of weeks ago, and then 4 in 6 against the Padres, 2 in 5 at Tampa in a game the Giants ended up losing 2-1 to begin that series. And then he ends up pitching the finale in Miami and gets a 3-1 win, and he gives up 1 Ernie in 6 innings. And you look at the line tonight for Keaton Wynn, and it's in line with that. The 1 Ernie in 6 innings, and he was dealing. I mean, it was effortless, really, for Keaton Wynn. The 6 strikeouts as he goes the 6 innings. Giants coming up with the 2-out RBI hits in this one, and the Giants win it 5-2. The final. Conforto goes deep. Ahmed and Chapman with the big hits in this one for the Giants. Ahmed to give them the 2-0 lead. That back in the bottom of the second inning, as he just laced one down the left field line that looked like it had the potential off the bat to be a grand slam, went foul, and then singles in 2 up the middle. Chapman with a 2-run double to score Flores and Jung-Hoo Lee in the third, and Keaton Wynn was just up to the task throughout the course of the night. Some good defense behind him at different points as, Wynn gave up a leadoff single in the second, and then he gets a double play. Then 3 up, 3 down in the third. A couple of more strikeouts in the fourth. Pete Alonso takes him deep in the fifth, but then he settles right back down, and boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3 after the Alonso homer to get through the fifth and on into the sixth as he went 3 up, 3 down again in the sixth and came back out for the seventh before things got dicey. A walk and a single, and then a walk, and that was it, with Ryan Walker able to get through that seventh, and then the Giants end up winning it by that 5-2 final. Simple question tonight. Couple of questions on the board. Are the Giants getting better, or are they just not getting worse? 808 KNBR the number. And what'd you think of the Doval light show? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to throw it out there. Finally got the home run light show on Friday, but Giants are getting beat 17-1. And then tonight you had Club Doval at Oracle Park. I thought the crowd was into it. I get it. It's not for everybody. I'm probably somebody that could take it or leave it, but I will admit it when it happened. And I had forgotten about it because it hadn't happened. Although I do think there was an article or it had been mentioned on one of the broadcasts, either on the radio or TV, that it was coming, and they haven't been able to unveil it. I had forgotten. And with a non-save situation, I wasn't sure Doval was even going to come in. But when the gate opened and the ballpark went dark, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was cool. And not only did I think it was cool, but the crowd dug it. the 24,138 on hand, dug it. They were into it. They got hyped. And so, yeah, I think I think it goes down as a positive mark overall. Back to the phones. Let's go to Kitty next. Hey, Kitty, you are on the Sports Leader. It's good to speak with you again, Kitty.
Hey, John. Nice to speak with you.
Yes. Yes.
I've been talking to Bill lately, so you know.
A lot of Bill, a lot of Bill. I saw Bill at the ballpark tonight. He came by and we chatted for half an inning or an inning about just kind of everything going on, and happy to be sharing these airwaves with Bill here post Giants.
I know you guys are great. I love calling in, and you know I'm not going to answer your question of the night though because you know, like you said, it was a win-win. How about that? Okay. Get it?
I got you. Okay, it was a win-win. Literally, it was literally a win-win.
Exactly. So that's all. That's what I'm looking at. Every game, right? It's like the professor used to say. I love the professor, right? Every day's a new day in baseball. Right? You leave the game, you go take a shower, you know what? It's a new day tomorrow. And you can't look at the other game. And
Oh, Kitty, we losing you. Kitty, we lost Kitty. Kitty hit the dead spot on the Bay Bridge. And we lost Kitty. Kitty, we'll get you back on if you want to give us a call back at 808 KNBR 415-808 5627. JD in the bunker. Giants get the win 5-2 over the Mets tonight. And yes, it was a win-win for San Francisco. Keaton Wynn getting the victory for the Giants. Let's get Andrea in Berkeley next here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, Andrea. Good to speak with you. It's been a while.
Yes, yeah. No, this was definitely a win-win. I'll tell you, with the full moon, that was perfect.
That's right.
Love to hear John Miller wax philosophical about the full moon and show it. And, you know, that gives us extra momentum. I love the light show. I mean, I'm a deadhead from way back when. So
that's cool. See, you would not be in the what people would think would be the demo of liking the light show. So I think that's good that you like the light show. I think that's good. I think we don't want to stereotype here as far as who's going to like it and who's not going to like it. So I appreciate you saying that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Gosh, Grateful Dead Intermission, the whole thing was like the light show was like 45 minutes long. It was just awesome. A show within itself.
Sure.
So that was really fun to see the light show and to celebrate. And, you know, the full moon. And good news, Mercury's out of retrograde April 25th. So it was pretty crazy with all the ejections and the confusion and calling for one pitcher and a different one came in. It was, you know, pretty crazy. So there's no way out but through. So that cycle's almost over. So I really think the Giants are getting better. And Keaton Wynn, February 20th, 1998, you know, positive Mars aspects, which is crucial for an athlete whose energy, assertion, and aggression. So that was really nice to see. Chapman, determined Taurus, always nice to see him get a hit. And, you know, I just thought it was a nice team effort there. And, you know, good pitching, good defense, you know the drill. And it was just really nice to see it come together. I want
to put two and two together here because we had the other caller that was worried about Jorge Soler.
Mm-hmm.
Should he be worried about Jorge Soler as far as and I can try to help with it if you don't have his numbers there. I'll try to help.
Yeah, let me look up his birth date and see, February 25th, 1992. Yeah, why don't I take a look at his chart and let you know?
I'm going to be on tomorrow, right back here in the bunker. So, yeah, I don't want to – yep, absolutely. So give us a call back tomorrow, and we can talk about Soler because people are really worried about him. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to be fine, but, you know, we can see what the stars have or what the stars say, shall we? Well, thanks. Thanks, Andrea. Appreciate it, Andrea in Berkeley. Kitty is back, though. Kitty, I know you hit that dead spot. I know exactly where it is. Everybody does.
I know. I was telling your producer, I said, I go through the Caldecott. Boom, it was like the light show. But you know what, John? Here's my thing with the light show, okay? And there were some people behind me that were really nervous. They said, well, we've experienced this before, and they've never got the regular lights back on. I was just nervous that Doval was going to trip or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden it's black. It's dark.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's great. It's great. It's exciting. It's fun. Yeah, the crowd was into it. I was like, whoa, okay. And it just kind of was a little bizarre.
Okay. A little trippy or like a little weird?
Well, I don't know yet, John. I don't know. It was interesting because you're not used to that. And hey, I love all those times, you know, and when Romo came out and all those songs and Fear the Beard, come on. I loved all that. But this was really over the top. And that's why I said Warriors, because I know you're a Warriors man. And I'm bummed about the Warriors, but it's okay. You know, 2 seasons. We'll watch Steph play in the, Olympics? All right.
Yeah.
So, John, it was just too Hollywood for me.
Okay.
But I like Hollywood. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. And look, I think it's going to be split. I understand where you're coming from on it. I didn't really have an opinion on it other than, all right, they're trying some new things to you know, just to provide an uptick in the vibe, right? They're trying to have the vibe be better at the ballpark. Now, the number one thing, Kitty, is make the team better, right? Like that's always the number one thing. If you have a good team, I think we've seen enough over the decades, especially at this ballpark, but even at the other ballpark at Candlestick, when the Giants are good, if they're good for long enough, people are going to come and people are going to be excited and the atmosphere is going to be great. So, you know, I think ultimately it comes down to that. But I'm also open-minded enough to, it's like, all right, why not try something a little bit new? Why not try to make an experience out of your top flight closer when he comes into the game? Other teams do that in their own way. And so I feel like it's kind of harmless, but I'm sure some people hate it. I'm sure some people just hate it. And then there's other people that are like, all right, that's cool. I like that. You know, maybe I want to see that again. So I get it. I understand both sides of it.
I'll give it a second time, and then I'll let you know. But I just, like I said, I always call. I want to be positive about everything because I'm excited to see baseball. I sat from a different perspective today. You know, I sat behind the dugout today. Usually, I'm over on the first base side. I like that side, but I sit all around the different parts of the ballpark. It's just one different perspective. But the vibe yesterday, John, was so awful. And I watched the biggest police escort with those umpires coming out of the game, right? And that's bizarre, right? It's like, it's just we'll just, like I said, we'll have to go out to lunch sometime. And I was by the bunker. I got a picture with Mr. Lee. I love him on his scooter.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, it was good. It just, I don't know, John. I'm kind of at a loss for words tonight, and I'm usually not. But I don't know. It's interesting to see what happened. 17-1, and then they win. They split the series, which is great, right? And then you have a game like yesterday, and you watched the replay of that, John, over and over. I did, right? I came home and watched it. Wow, come on.
Yeah,
that changed the entire outcome.
It was bad. There's no doubt. It was bad, and there's been a few. And there's been a few lately that have been like that. And there were a couple tonight where the Giants were not happy with the strike zone. And so, yeah, no question. And, those calls have been – and yeah, I mean, yesterday was blatant, obviously, in a different way. But, yeah, no, it's a situation where the frustration, I think, it comes out. And you did change the potential for the outcome of the game. In a big way. So, Kitty, thank you so much for the call. And if you're at a loss for words tonight, then give us a call again tomorrow. Jacob, you're telling me you have a take on the light show. So before we get to Brad on the phones, I want to get your take on the light show.
Listen, I didn't know it was coming, and I'm all for like entertaining stuff to make baseball a little bit more fun. But Dude, I thought it was like the rapture. I thought like the second coming or something, like revelations. Like the sky was the color of blood. I was scared, honestly.
Really?
a little bit.
I would have thought you would have been like, man, this is cool.
It reminded me of my old rave days, I guess.
Yeah, like it's I don't know. I thought so you were obviously in the studio.
I was.
So you saw it. They showed it on television.
Yeah, they showed it in the middle of like coming back from break, I guess.
Gotcha.
And I was like, wow, this is intense. Like with the spotlights and the red, like in the blackout first. It was just a little.
Was it red? Was it orange though? It was supposed to be orange, right?
I saw it as red, but maybe it was orange.
Okay, yeah. I think it was orange. So maybe they got to change the hue.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe for the screen, we got our SD monitors here.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, I would have thought you'd have been like, yeah, let's go. Like kind of the new wave, new generation version of our Deadhead that was like, yeah, I used to love that. Like that.
Yeah,
let's go.
And maybe again, if I was at the ballpark, it would have gotten me a little jazzed up. You know, I want to go take like a Jaeger bomb after, although I got to be in the club level for that one.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
But yeah, I mean, I'm down. Like, I'm down for some more entertaining business. Like you said, I loved El Michon. Smoke on the Water was great. The closer is like the fierce guy. You know what I mean? So if this is going to bring the hype up for Camilo Tranquilo, then I'm down for it.
Yeah, and you know, as long as he's on board with it, which again I think he is on board. Austin Scott's here, by the way, from our KNBR digital team. We'll throw Austin on here in a second. And we'll see if he asked the question that I wanted to be asked in the post game in the clubhouse. It may or may not, but let's sneak in Brad in Aptos before the top of the hour. Hey, Brad.
Hey, how's it going? So I think it was kind of cool, but at first I had flashbacks to the Niners-Ravens Super Bowl, and I was like, oh no, we're going to lose this game. Like the power just went out.
Right.
And who knows, like nobody knew what was going on. And then it took like a couple of seconds, and then the orange, and then you see the spotlight, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. And then it kind of happened, and then he came out flat with like ball after ball, and you're like, ooh, was this too much for him? Like he's feeling the pressure for it.
But he does that anyway sometimes. So like sometimes he's a little off at the beginning as well. So I mean that could have just been non-save situation.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I think it would be something cool where it's not like all the time, but like you have the lead, or it's like a 1-1 score and the Sabres coming in, and you use it very sparingly. So it's like it's special. It's not just something that gets blown out or something like that. So.
All right, Brad.
But I thought it was pretty cool.
Appreciate it. I'm with you. I thought it was cool, and I didn't expect it I didn't expect it when it was coming there. So yeah, we'll continue to tally up the votes here between now and midnight. Feel free to weigh in if you'd like at 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. The Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open as well. All right, let's go ahead and pause here. We'll come back. We'll hear a little bit from the Giants clubhouse. We've got Austin Scott, who's going to join us from the clubhouse. He just got done for the night. And we'll see if there's anything interesting going on following this Giants 5-2 win. All of that straight ahead right here, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Sports Phone KNBR keeps rolling live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpot Studios. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
First ball swinging. Here's a drive down the right field line by Conforto. Deep, way back there, and it's gone! Onto the arcade and straight away right field. Michael Conforto against his old team, the Mets, jumps on one, ambushing Quintana, and it's 5-1 Giants.
All right, John Miller on the call there. Conforto going deep. Giants win 5-2. Jump around. What was the best? How do you compare, Jacob? I want to get your take on this as well, because you're a man of culture. El Machone versus Jump Around versus Smoke on the Water, because I had forgotten about Smoke on the Water. Was pretty sweet.
It was. Enough said. El Machone got me so geeked for Sergio Romo, dude. That was the number one. I loved it. Even when he was a road pitcher coming back to AT&T Park or Oracle, I wanted them to play El Machone when he came in from the opposing bullpen.
When he came in as a Dodger?
Yeah, I would still be down with the cause.
when he and Brian Wilson both came in as Dodgers.
It happens, okay? I get it.
It happens. Back here from the bunker at Oracle Park, it's John Dickinson, 808 KNBR. Giants 11-13. Couple of questions on the board, although the back half here of the hour really turned more toward what did you think of the Camilo Doval light show. Finally got the home run light show on Friday night, although the Giants were getting thumped. As Marcus the Waterboy Boucher said, Club Doval. I think that was pretty appropriate. But our guy Austin Scott, we'll get to him coming up here. He was in the Giants clubhouse, and reporters were able to get to Camilo Doval. So we're going to have the answer as to everything we were wondering. Did he know about it? Did he like it? Stay tuned for Camilo Doval coming up here, and our buddy Austin Scott on the KNBR digital side. Make sure you're checking everything out on Twitter, on Instagram, really on all social media channels at KNBR. Austin, a big part of that. Let's get back to the phones here as we enter the 11 o'clock hour, and we start with Chris in Napa on the Sports Leader. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
I'm doing well tonight. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to call about the laser show or whatever, the light show during the game.
Okay.
I just feel that the aesthetic of baseball is being ruined year after year after year. You know, it started with the patches on the hat, and now patches on the uniform. And
this isn't that, though. This isn't. I'll let you continue, but
it kind of is. Over and over, just little by little, they're kind of destroying the aesthetic of the game. And this isn't a hockey game. This isn't a Pink Floyd concert. It's just too much, And I go to like 10 games a year with my son, and it's just it's too much.
Okay. Chris, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Does your son like it or not?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
You know, he totally doesn't. It's not baseball. You know, we go to a baseball game to get away from that kind of thing. I mean, we're living in an age of digital everything all the time, and you go to a baseball game to get away from that.
I think a lot of people do, but not everybody anymore. In fact, I think, and that's sort of what I think teams have done in their research is they found that a lot of people want a little bit more of that in their baseball. And again, not everybody, and I'm not saying there's a right answer by any means, Chris. And I'm kind of right in the middle on it. Like I'm not a super old head, but I'm not like in my 20s either. And so I kind of take it or leave it, but I'll admit, as I've said a couple of times already, I wasn't ready for it. And I actually thought it was kind of cool. And I'm somebody that does enjoy.
I understand that. I totally understand that. I just feel like the aesthetic of the game is starting to slip away.
Sure. No, I think that's fair. I think even well, I'll give you an example. I know games used to be super fast, but I actually think, and I've had a conversation with a buddy of mine who's a huge baseball fan and goes to different ballparks and just loves the game, and he thinks their games are too fast now. they've almost gone too far in not allowing an enjoyment. Like it's one thing to say you don't want 3 hours, and you surely don't want 3:30 and 3:40 and maybe on a regular basis. But now it's like you're having a hard time getting to 220 on a lot of these, and it's like can you settle in and even enjoy the atmosphere and the air and the sunshine if it's a day game. And so to me that I think I've noticed has been a little bit, I don't want to say too fast, but I feel like it's almost been too fast.
It is too fast. You're absolutely right. It's too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's just too many rule changes, too much stuff. It's baseball. Don't mess with the game.
No, I hear you, and thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. We got a few other people that want to chime in, so Chris's line open, and thanks for the call. And look, I know Chris is not alone, but I thought it was cool. I think you have to always continue to evolve and try new things. And the Giants are trying to adapt. They're trying to bring, I don't know if it's bring people in as much as it is people that do come to the game, if they see something new that's kind of cool. Oh, you know what? I like that. I want to, I want to see that again. I want to go to another game when the Giants are ahead and Doval comes in and they do that because everybody gets hyped. And it's just kind of a vibe thing. But I understand. AJ in Santa Rosa next on the Sports Leader. Hey, AJ.
Hey, JD. How's it going?
I'm doing all right, man. I wasn't expecting to do this much of the show tonight on the light show, but here we are, man. It's 11:10 and we're cooking.
Yeah, I was at the ballpark tonight and I wasn't expecting it either, and I honestly thought it was super cool. I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though Doval came out a little flat as he does from time to time. But overall, I really enjoyed the experience.
Okay, appreciate it. We'll mark it down. We'll mark it down. Appreciate it, AJ. AJ in Santa Rosa likes it. Been a pretty even split to this point. Sardal in Fremont next here on the Sports Leader.
Hey, JD. I really love your YouTube channel, all your content, your videos. I think you really do a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
On the platform. So as a Giants fan, I'm really impressed by the whole lighting and sound system at Oracle Park, because it really creates like a club-like atmosphere for anyone at the ballpark. So I think they're doing a really great job with everything they're doing to make the park more alive and make people feel like they want to come out to the games. There you go. All right, Sardal. So you like it. You're all for it. Keep it coming. I love the light show, and I hope they keep doing these light shows. Well, here's the thing.
then the people that like the light show, you want to see it more, and you want to. And what does that mean? You want to see more home runs. You want to see more wins, which is ultimately what it all boils down to begin with. All right, Sardal, appreciate it. Sardal checking in here. 808 KNBR is the number. It is John Dickinson here. Let's get Oni in Hawaii next. What's going on, Oni?
Hey, I was telling you, whoever answered the phone, I haven't seen the ninth inning closer light show because our games are blacked out here, and I can't watch it until an hour and a half after it ends. But I'm looking forward to seeing what it is, and from the sounds of it, it's probably pretty cool. But I was telling whoever answered that when you start getting bored of it, you could probably try and use it like when we're getting blown out, or when Fitzgerald comes in to pitch an inning, use it.
You could use it then. Well, and I've heard a few people say that it gets rid of the birds, like just the little flashing of the lights at the top.
Oh, okay.
So like in between innings, you can even do that, and it gets. I hadn't even thought of that, and a couple of people have mentioned it. Well, you can do in between innings a little flash at the top that isn't too noticeable, not like the full blown Soler goes deep type of deal, and it'll just it's enough to make the birds freak out enough to go somewhere else.
Yeah, cool.
So,
and I have one other thing to say. I listen to KNBR over here all the time, and I listen to, all the people talking and everybody talking about the team and everything. And the only thing I've got to say is I think that, from last year to this year is obviously a noticeable change. And I think everything is good for the positive. And, some of these guys that aren't performing yet, and they're not up there, I think it's fine, because you're not going to be able to rely on any one of these guys to really do the whole thing. But all of these guys have enough for a particular game. So one game, Flo will do something. One game, Soler will do something. And I think you're gonna have to look at it that these guys are spreading it out and not all doing it at once.
And that's baseball. Like that's baseball. You're going to get a couple of guys hot, and then other guys are going to get hot. And that's the mark of a good team, when you have enough guys. Now, I don't know if the Giants have enough guys to carry them, but yeah, there's going to be a point where Soler is hitting and Conforto's not. And that's just the nature of a season. Thanks, Oni. Appreciate appreciate you. And at least it's earlier there if you have to wait to watch the games. At least it's not up to midnight or anything like that. Thanks, Oni. All right, Oni checking in here from Hawaii. We bring in our buddy Austin Scott. I'm going to reach over here to the board as and turn his mic on there. Yeah, swing that mic on over. Austin Scott from the KNBR digital team joins me here in the bunker. Austin, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Great to be on the postgame show.
Here we are. Sports Phone KNBR, JD from the bunker. Giants get the big 5-2 win, and we were talking. I had forgotten about the light show, and then it was like, and it wasn't a save situation. Although I think in my mind I thought, oh well, Doval's coming in. It is a save situation. It wasn't. They get him in. The place goes dark, and I think I looked right over at you, and I was like, that was pretty cool. Like when it was all said and done, didn't really know what to expect. Here's the thing, and you were in the Clubhouse postgame. You were in Bob Melvin's postgame press conference. Did Bo Mel get asked about it, number one?
That was his final question to Bo Mel, was what he thought of the Camilo Light show.
And now Bo Mel's not the kind of guy that I think would love it, but what did he think?
Hey, Bo Mel said that Camilo likes it, and as long as he likes it, he's good with it, and the fans like it, and he said that's what the game is all about.
That's what the game's all about.
And so that was short and sweet.
All right, so short and sweet there. So he didn't say anything bad about it.
Nothing bad. Even if maybe he thought something bad, he didn't say anything bad.
Okay, very good. And then Camilo in the clubhouse, and obviously you talked to Keaton Wynn and who else tonight?
Keaton Wynn, Michael Conforto.
Conforto, yeah, against his former team with the big home run solo shot there. But the big one was, because I wanted to say I thought I had seen an article but I didn't totally, I've been in Warriors mode. We really both have that. You see a bunch of stuff, you file things away to read later. And I could have sworn I read or heard something within the last week and a half about Doval knows they're doing this and was consulted. I don't know. That may be a reach on my part, but that was my burning question in the aftermath of the game, to the point where I said, you got to get over to Camilo and you got to ask him, did he know it was coming or like it? Maybe you didn't ask the question. Maybe you did. Doesn't matter. But did Camilo Doval know it was coming?
Yeah, that was the thing, is we made sure, all the media members in there, we were like, we got to talk to Conforto, we got to talk to Wynn, obviously, right? But we were like, okay, the buzz, the trend tonight is Camilo Doval. Like, we got to go talk to him. Even, even with the interpreter and everything, that's what the people want to hear. So, yeah, we went over to Doval, and he knew it was coming.
So he knew it was coming.
He knew the light show was coming. He knew that something was getting cooked up. But in the words of Camilo, he did not know that it would be that great. He thought it was like a movie.
So he liked it.
He liked it. And then
it.
he doubled down on it, and he was like, this is kind of like a Hollywood type of thing. Like, this is pretty flashy. Like, he was a fan.
So we got to test it out in a non-save situation. Things got a little janky. Not really.
That's funny, because it got a little janky, and if it got any more janky, we wouldn't even be talking about it.
Well, yeah, if
so
there
it was like, it was teetering.
If it ends up 5-5 going to the bottom of the ninth, yeah, it wouldn't. Those would not have been the Bomel would have hated it and never again. I'm kidding.
And he let the Giants do the whole light show and organize all that. All he did was choose the music.
Okay, so he picked his music that he wanted.
Chose his music. He just chose the music he liked the best, and he rolled with it.
Okay,
he let the Giants do everything.
So
else.
he let the Giants do everything else, but he was cool with it. He was like, "Hey, we're trying to do something."
He's cool with it.
It wasn't like, no, don't do that.
No, and it's funny because apparently he used to be hesitant on it a little bit, but he had a change of heart. Like once he got to choose his own music, he was all in. Yeah,
full blown embracing. Okay, well, that's good. That I'm glad. I think
we'll see it again.
I would think he would like it.
Right.
Like he does seem to be a little flashy.
He's a little flashy. He's got a heater.
Yeah, anybody would come in and throw 100. I would think would like that.
Yeah.
And just, the entrance. And plus, maybe it does prevent everybody from paying attention to that clock when he's initially getting in there. Maybe you buy an extra 5 seconds. I'm kidding. It just because, sometimes that's a thing. But no, that's cool that he liked it. Did it come up at all? Did anybody else? Did Conforto get asked about it?
Conforto and Keaton Wynn got asked about it. Yeah, Keaton Wynn, when he got asked about it, he was like, "Yeah, this is so sick." Like Keaton
Wynn's like, "How come I don't get it?"
Well, he was actually yes. So he was not in the dugout because he had pitched, so he saw it on the TV.
Like, starters need this.
He was like, "This is sick," and someone was like, maybe starting pitchers can get a little light show. And he was like, "Yeah, maybe if we go into the 9th inning and we're having a good game,
like he's
maybe,
still out there in the 9th inning.
Yeah, maybe if the starting pitcher's still out in the 9th inning, they can get a little spotlight. But
okay,
Keaton
all right.
Wynn,
So
I don't think he's opposed.
Keaton Wynn's not opposed, and I mean the other problem is obviously 6:45. It's still light out, especially as we get deeper into the summer. So you can't really have a light show when it's still light out.
Right.
But yeah, it'd have to be back end of a game when.
Well, and
you imagine Logan Webb, Logan Webb pitching into the 9th inning.
Comes out in the 9th,
Comes out,
maybe in that NLDS.
Comes out in the 9th, 1-1.
Get the light show going.
So
and Conforto was out in the outfield, and he was scared. Like he said, he was scared because it went pitch black.
He's like, what? He thought like they lost power.
And again, like he knew like something was happening, but like he just didn't know like how intense it was gonna be. So he saw a blackout, and he was just like scared. But he was like, that was something.
Okay, yeah. So he didn't
not as much.
He didn't love it as much.
It didn't seem like he loved it as much,
but he didn't hate it.
He didn't hate it.
He didn't hate it, and it's relatively quick too. Because I mean, you want to like the key to having those lights and the ability to do that is the fact that you can go dark and do all the different things, and then it's like boom, you're right back to normal, and everybody can warm up and have a
Well, and I feel like if you ask most pitchers too, I think most of the pitchers in the clubhouse are going to be like, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. It might be different for hitters because, you're going up to bat. Maybe you can't really get a full-on light show, but maybe you get a little spotlight or something.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So that's that's good. Those are the big questions that everybody wanted to know about, and a big part of the show. Do you like it, Austin?
I love it. I love it, JD. I think that should be. I mean, look, I'm a 22-year-old guy, and I'm modern. I love old school baseball, but in terms of my
everybody's
trends,
like, oh, of course, a 22-year-old guy. Of course, a 22-year-old guy.
Sorry to say
it,
but I thought it was cool. Keep it coming. Like, why not? I think the fans loved it. Like,
I thought the fans. I thought the fans loved it.
If you are at the game,
like, no, I didn't
feel like you want to see that.
I didn't look around at anybody who was like, and I know we had, who was it? Who was? I want to make sure I got the right. We had Chris and Napa. Chris and Napa was there with his son. He didn't like it.
Yeah,
and that's fine. But it just, I was like looking around and like it seemed like people were like, wow, this, like they were kind of jumping up and down. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Even unbiased media members who were tweeting it out were like, this is sick.
This is exactly.
You know what I mean?
And the media want to hate everything.
Journalists,
especially old school baseball writers. Right? If we're stereotyping.
I mean, everybody asked. Shayna asked about it. Evan asked about it. Wags asked about it. I mean, everyone's.
No, it was honestly. I mean, we were sitting there, and I'm getting ready. You're getting ready to go down to the clubhouse, and I'm getting ready to kind of map out the show. And I had one question, which our question of the night here, which was, are the Giants getting better, or just not getting worse? Which is actually a takeoff of a little text back and forth we had, I think, yesterday.
Right.
And then when Doval came in, because I just wasn't one of the things. I'll give you a semi old head thing that I don't love. I actually don't love, and this is, I get it. I understand why it's. I actually liked the bullpens in the field of play.
Oh, give me the bullpens in the field of play.
I like
I
like the bullpens on the foul line.
That's baseball.
I liked it. I liked it. Yeah. And maybe it was because I was, as a kid, I went to Candlestick. When I was a kid, I went to the Coliseum.
Yep.
Coliseum still has them in there. And the story, goes that they didn't, they forgot. I mean, they forgot, so they had to put them on the side. They built the bleachers, all the different things about why it ended up that way. But I thought when the Giants moved here, I was like, what? They're still on the field. But I like it because I can see who's warming up. Because I could always tell who was warming up,
right,
just based on their motion, based on their windup, or their body type or whatever.
Need their number. You don't need.
I'd be like, oh, and I could do it for other teams too. Like I was like, oh, that's who's warming up, and it just, you felt more connected. Like even in the press box, I'm like, oh, the binocular. Like I don't know who.
I'm old school when it comes to baseball. I'm with you. I'm totally on board. Like, I love the bullpens in the field.
And I get it, safety, all that, and I do think the bullpen itself in the outfield, now that they've moved him there, looks cool. That looks cool. I know you've gone down there and had some shots of some of the starting pitchers warming up before the game, and there is a cool visual if you're in the bleachers right there by the bullpens to where you can.
They toss up balls, you get autographs.
No, it's
Pat
cool.
Bailey's there every day.
It's cool, and Fenway, it was that way. I with the bullpen. I mean, every place is basically that way now. But Seattle was one of the newer parks that first did it to where they built it in to where you can watch. Like, basically, there's a viewing area where you can just stand up along the caged fence and watch and just get basically on top of guys as they're warming up. So now that's kind of a thing everywhere. They were really the first new park that did it that way, and so it makes for a cool visual. But yeah, I liked kind of knowing who was coming in. So I didn't think Doval, because it's all right, 5-1 game. Is he coming in? Is he not?
Well, they've been bringing him in.
They're trying to get him some work, right? Because he hasn't had saves, right?
In the past 2 years, he's had some of the most appearances, most saves in baseball. And the Mets, now he's not getting any save opportunities.
Right, and the Mets were going to have the top of the order.
But he made it a save opportunity because he wanted to save.
He made it a save opportunity. What else was part of the discussion post game? Keaton Wynn, right? Look out.
One of the cool things from Keaton Wynn is apparently he said he had not gone into the seventh inning since single A ball in 2019. So he has not gone into the seventh inning for 5 years at any level, which was cool. And he said that he got like a standing ovation And he had never gotten that before. He was like, he loved it. He didn't even know how to explain it, and he just
he got to go out for the 7th, and then
he got pulled out.
You get pulled out, you get the ovation.
He got the ovation. So he had never gotten that before, and he thought that was awesome.
Right. You just go 6, and then you're just out of the game. You don't get the ovation a lot of the time, unless everybody kind of knows you're coming out. Usually you get that in like the 8th. Like you don't get that in the 6th. Like if you're walking off at the end of an inning, you might get it in like Logan Webb might get it walking off at the end of an inning in like the
and there's also this vibe with Keaton Wynn, and no one directly said it, so don't quote anything, but there's this vibe that Keaton Wynn is kind of this Logan Webb-esque innings eater.
Okay.
Right? Like Bob Melvin is like, Keaton Wynn like wants to go deep into games. Like that's his thing. That's his mindset. So he wants to go into the 6th inning, the 7th inning, and beyond if he's pitching lights out. So I mean, I think tonight is kind of that ceiling of what you might be able to see from Keaton Wynn if he's pitching well. Is they want him going 6, 7 innings.
Well,
which is exactly what Bob Melvin wants.
I mean, that's outstanding. And with Cobb now not coming back as soon as they thought he was going to be coming back, I mean, Keaton Wynn's filled the void. I mean, I was looking at his game log, and I mean, he hasn't had a bad one in any of the games. No. He gave up. I mean, his worst outing was 4.
Well, he gave up that grand slam.
Yep.
In the first inning, and then he pitched 6 innings of incredible ball.
Exactly.
And they, lost 4-0.
Exactly. Gave up the grand slam in the first inning, and that's the worst outing that he's had. And I think
he allowed 2 hits, 3 hits. I mean, it was like it was weird. It was actually a really good outing, but
it was the second home game. Against the Padres, the one game in that series that the Giants lost, and they hadn't been winning his starts, but it hadn't really been because of him at all. Yeah, he gave up 3 in the first outing, 4 in that second outing that we talked about, 2 in Tampa, and then 1 in 6 innings at Miami, and then tonight the 1, and he pitched into the 7th inning tonight.
Also, fun fact, there's Conforto has hit a home run against 29 MLB teams. There's only 1 team that he has not hit a home run against.
Okay.
You want to give it a crack? Just throw a team out there?
Wow. The one team that Conforto has not hit a home run against.
Play for the Mets, Giants. He's been playing the NL, so,
It's got to be an AL team.
There you go. It's an AL team.
I'm going to say it's got to be, well, I don't want to say got to be, but it's probably like an AL West team because he's played fewer games against their AL West or AL Central team.
Yeah.
Houston?
Yes. You got it right.
Really?
The Houston Astros.
And they've been a good team. They've been a good team.
Which,
I mean, you could.
That's incredible. That proves your knowledge because they had Conforto guess, and he guessed the Rangers. So he guessed the right.
It was down to those two. It was honestly down to those two.
He guessed the right state, but
it was down to the
Astros. He said we got to make it happen.
It was down to those.
He's going to try and hit a home run against the Astros.
Against the Astros, which is it here? It's here this year, I believe. I think.
Pretty sure.
Now it alternates every year.
And the home run would have been a home run in every ballpark, but Coors Field.
Okay.
That's
even with the extra turbo you get.
Yeah.
From
that's what the stats said apparently. So right. Just a couple of fun facts for the listeners.
Some fun facts there from Austin Scott. Well, Austin, thank you appreciate you hopping on here. We'll do this from time to time on the nights where I'm here.
It's been a great time
in the bunker,
in the bunker, hanging out.
I'll be back tomorrow. So maybe we'll have you back tomorrow. But if it's like an 8-1 loss, you'll be out of here at like 10:30. So
yeah,
I understand. You're a front runner. No, I'm kidding. You're not. No. Careful. I'm not shading you.
Hey.
I'm not shading you. I don't want any issues. I don't want any issues from your girlfriend. All right, Austin, good stuff. We'll go ahead and pause here. We'll come back. We'll hear some post-game sound from the clubhouse as well. 808 KNBR if you want to join the conversation. We got about 25 more minutes here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Speak your mind on the sports leader. Sports phone KNBR keeps coming at you. Streaming live at twitch.tv/the sports leader.
Here's the 1-2. That one is hit hard on the ground, and the first baseman, Wilmer Flores, lunging toward the line, spears it. As he stands up, he spins around, and he flips to Keaton Wynn covering. He gets to the bag ahead of Narvaez. Nice play. Out number 3. Here's the 1-0. Chapman lines this one down the left field line. That is a fair ball. And it goes right by Nimmo into the corner. Wilmer's home. Here comes Lee. Hill scores standing. Chapman into second. The ball comes in and it's cut off by Jeff McNeil. But a 2-run double off the bat of Matt Chapman makes it 4-0 Giants. Now here is strike 3 call. Fastball right at the knees. It's a 3-up, 3-down inning. And we go to the last half of the 6th.
Yeah, last half of the 6th. And that's when the Giants would add on with the Michael Conforto home run. Keaton Wynn goes 6 into the 7th. And yeah, smoke on the water. There was something about smoke on the water with Rob Nen back in the early, the inaugural season at Pacific Bell Park in 2000 first year of the ballpark, and they were looking to do something new for Rob Nen, who had been the closer since 1998 for the Giants. And, it was smoke on the water, and it just fit. It fit. Nen coming in, throwing heaters, throwing that 91-mile-an-hour slider, and, people dug it. People dug it, and it rang through the first 3 years of then Pacific Bell Park, with Rob Nen picking up his 300th save in 2002. And, man, talk about a guy who left it all out there for his team in the World Series in 2002, and just not quite enough, and never pitched again after the Game 6, where he came in to try to clean up some of the mess as the Angels came back and Troy Glaus hit the double. And tough night back in 2002. And then, Rob Nen basically ended his career on that night trying to pitch through injury. But yeah, smoke on the water, that's a good one. Jump around's a good one. El Machon is a good one. And the light show was pretty cool, I thought, tonight. But I get it. A lot of people don't like it. Taken away from baseball, the aesthetic of baseball, as our buddy chimed in, Chris in Napa, earlier. I don't disagree with that. I mean, it does feel like there has to be something added to, at every turn, right? Whether it's make the game faster or more lights, this and that. But I don't know. I thought it was cool. Giants get the win 5-2. The hitting heroes, Michael Conforto with that solo homer, but really it was Nick Ahmed with the near grand slam, then 2-run single, put the Giants up 2-0 in the second. In the third, Matt Chapman with the 2-run double to score Wilmer Flores and Jung-Hoo Lee. And Keaton Winn tonight, all about Keaton Winn as he gets the victory, and the splitter doing the job for Keaton Winn. Been a big part of his success. And Michael Conforto was asked and discussed what's made Keaton Winn so successful, and he thinks it's that split.
I mean, he's been awesome. Obviously putting some runs on the board for him, can let him settle in a little bit and work his pitches, just pound the zone a little bit. The splitter's nasty. I've seen it in spring training. You see some awkward swings on it. And obviously the fastball's got life as well. So, I mean, he's a great pitcher, great teammate as well. And he did a great job for us tonight.
All right, so Michael Conforto there. Yeah, the split is where it's been at for Keaton Winn. And, yeah, it's interesting what Austin was talking about. We had Austin Scott from the digital team on in the last segment, and he spoke to the mindset of Keaton Winn. And, you really didn't know what to expect from him, how long he was going to be in the rotation. Was he going to be kind of a swing guy? Because, again, for all intents and purposes, Alex Cobb was scheduled to be back much quicker than originally anticipated. And so you're just thinking, okay, is this guy going to go to the minors? Is he going to be a long guy? Is he going to end up in the middle relief, basically, because the Giants are going to have a logjam as far as the rotation goes. But as this thing has gone on, and you didn't know those first couple of starts how stretched out Winn was going to be and how long he was going to be able to pitch in a lot of these games. The 5 innings at Dodger Stadium, but he's been right there in the 80s in terms of pitches in every single one of these games. And it came up post-game. Bo Mel was asked about the mindset, and here's what he had to say about the young righty.
That's his mindset too. Is he wants to go deep in the game and take as much onus off the bullpen, shorten the game that way. So pitch count's way under control. Has basically been that way here for a while now. I think he was in the 70s when he went out for the 7th. Obviously got the first 2 guys on, but his mindset is to pitch as long as he can. He's a really good young pitcher, and when you only walk 1 against that lineup and give up 4 hits, 6+, it's a pretty good outing.
Yeah, real good outing, and real good outing on top of a real good outing. And, again, I think as we've discussed here over the last couple of hours, this team should pitch. And if Keaton Wynn is as good as Keaton Wynn has been, then they're going to have even more pitching than originally thought. And that's a real nice problem to have. You can never have too much because you're always going to have to be dealing with injury, and you're always going to have to be dealing with guys that are kind of in and out and maybe up and down in terms of some younger pitchers. But I think the big bright spot to this point has been just how Keaton Wynn has looked overall has been among them. But you look at Logan Webb has been the dude that he is. I think Kyle Harrison's been a real bright spot early on, and you didn't really know, was the good spring going to translate into big things in the regular season, and it has to this point. Jordan Hicks, how's that going to work out as far as turning a guy who's 100-mile-an-hour closer, pitcher that's thrown some of the fastest pitches in the game at different points throughout his career, coming in the ninth inning and coming in late to try and put teams away? And he's going to be a starter, and how's that going to work and all that? And to this point, I know it's looked a little clunkier for him in terms of the command in the last couple of starts, but it's been pretty good overall. Teams aren't hitting him for the most part. And so this team's got some pitching. Now, if they can get Blake Snell on track, takes a little of the pressure off as far as the hitting goes. And I think the Giants believe that the bats are going to be able to come around. So all in all, to kind of tie a bow on the first part of our question of the night here on Sports Phone KNBR, the Giants getting better or just kind of treading water, not getting worse? I think they're getting better. I think they're getting better. They're starting to get a few more hits with runners in scoring position. They got a couple big 2-out hits in the game tonight. And this team's going to be able to pitch. So a couple of more guys get to their baseball card or their baseball reference for their careers in terms of the hitting department. And, Soler comes around, and we'll see about Conforto continuing it. I think Chapman's had a real nice beginning here for the Giants. Jung-Hoo Lee's been tremendous. Looks the part. Looks like a big leaguer. I think his numbers should go up. He has the hitting streak, and he's hitting 282. So I think he's got a little bit of room to be able to improve. Get the on-base percentage up a little bit. The defense has been there for Jung-Hoo Lee. So I think this team is built to win over the long haul, with the pitching and the improved defense and a pretty good back end of the bullpen. Not going to lie, the middle is going to get figured out. But you know what? Most teams' middle relief has to get figured out. Giants know who their setup guys are when they're ahead. They know who their closer is. I think, if anything, they need to get Doval more opportunities. He's proven to be more comfortable, more consistent when he gets more work. So I think that's been a part of why it's looked a little haywire for him here and there. But the only way you do that is by getting leads. And you get leads by scoring runs early in the game with a team that can pitch. And so I think they'll figure that part out. I think they'll figure the middle relief part out. The hitting, I think, is a big question, and then we'll see as far as kind of putting the bullpen together in a way to have it all, connect between the starters. And look, this is a team that very well could end up not needing a lot of the mid-relief guys because they've got multiple, and this is where what Bob Melvin had to say about the mindset of a guy like Keaton Wynn. If Keaton Wynn's a guy that wants to get into the seventh regularly and shows he can do it, then you got a few guys that can do that. And then you got Webb who can do that. We'll see. I mean, Hicks obviously being a reliever, maybe not as consistently. But, I mean, this team's going to have the pitching to make some hay and to get back on track in a big way. So, yeah, Giants get the win 5-2. Couple of more against the Mets. Tomorrow, Luis Severino going for New York. Logan Webb going for the Giants. And, of course, you can hear all the action right here on KNBR, the sports leader. And then Blake Snell and Sean Manaea coming up, a couple of lefties in the matinee Wednesday afternoon here at Oracle Park before an off day, and everybody will focus on the NFL draft. Thursday, the first round of the draft. And then the Giants and the Pirates coming up over the weekend here at Oracle Park as well. But, yeah, you look at it to this point, and nobody's running and hiding as far as the standings go in the National League. Even at the top of the West, where everybody thought the Dodgers right now were going to be like 20-4. Well, they're not. They're 13-11, and the Giants find themselves right there in the mix, just a couple of games back even of L.A. And when you look at the wild card standings, even though it's still probably too early, you're 2 games back of that. And right now, the last team in is a tie between a couple of teams that are 12-10 in the Reds and the Mets. So, yeah, the Phillies are off to a good start. The Braves are off to a good start. The Brewers are off to a good start. You know, only one team's going to win that division in terms of the East between Atlanta and Philly. The Central is only going to get, I think, one guaranteed spot. Milwaukee's off to a hot start there, and then you're battling with teams that are 13-9, 12-10. So if you're 11-13, you're right there. That's one good week. That's one 5-1 week. 1 week and a half where you go 8-2, something like that. All of a sudden, you're the second wild card, and like a game. So that now it can go the other way too. And I think that goes to the point on whether the Giants are treading or not. But I think this team's slowly but surely starting to find it a little bit. All right, that'll do it. We'll reconvene tomorrow, right back here at Oracle Park, right back here in the bunker, following the Giants and the Mets. Thanks to everybody, Cole and Jacob in our San Francisco studios. Really appreciate their help. I'm JD. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Again, Giants beat the Mets 5-2. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.